Now, the question is, how does the market look? It's tight. There are 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. There's a number of them that have large cities have mayors. You can take them off of it. Then there's some real small towns out in the western part of Massachusetts, primarily, that really don't have professional managers. And you get yourself down into the high 200s in terms of the number of communities. Over the last 5 or 6 years, 75 to 80% of those communities have turned over their managers, mostly due to retirements. But what happens in all cases is there's one position, someone retires, let's say, somebody from another smaller community that's in the profession moves up, thereby creating a vacancy behind. So that's what's been going on over the last number of years. So all the baby boomers have left, and I think all of them have left at this point. I think there might be 1 or 2 left in Massachusetts, in local government, in the manager positions. But as they have left, we have a shortage of managers necessary out there. So what searches that used to get 50, 60 people applying, now in some cases are struggling to get above 15. The town of Brookline had 13 people apply for that job. That's a town of 75,000 people. They only had 13 people apply. The town of Arlington had 19 people apply. We've had some smaller towns. We've had some other towns that we've worked with that had 30, 35 people. But gone are the days that we used to have where we get 50 or 60 people who would apply for these jobs. I'm happy to say that here in Bridgewater, our deadline is coming up on, and I'll talk a little bit about the process, our deadline is coming up on Monday. We already have, I counted just as I walked out the door tonight, 19 people that have applied for the job. I'm expecting another 4 or 5, maybe more. You'd probably be shocked to hear this, that at 2:55 p.m. on Monday, with the deadline of 3, suddenly my email box will load up. Because people wait till the last minute. I don't know why they do that. I think they think it's going to put their resume at the top. But whatever the case, I think we'll end up in the mid-20s. So that's pretty good. What I think is even better, I'm happy about, is oftentimes when I look at the field of candidates that we have, it basically breaks down to a third, where we'll have a third that have no business applying for the job, a third that are interesting people that might have interesting qualifications but don't necessarily usually meet the criteria of being a town manager, and another third that do. And out of those third, there may be some candidates there that have a little bit of a backstory or something going on that I have to work with the committee and flag for them and say, okay, let me tell you a little bit about this person. As of right now, with the 20 people or 19 people that we have, and a couple more underway, I think the screening committee, the ad hoc committee, is going to have a tough time narrowing the field down to the number of candidates we're going to want to interview. I think right now we have probably 10 people that have applied that I think because I know most of them, are very good. As I said, one of the benefits of being in the business as long as I have, so on, is I know many of these people, I know their backgrounds, I know what their strengths and weaknesses are. And I think we've got some really good people that this ad hoc committee is going to be looking at. So that's the market. It's very much a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market. But things look good, I think, what we have in Bridgewater. The process that we have, let me start from the beginning. When we were engaged, and we started back in November, we immediately began, and we use this process pretty much in all of our communities. We get in, we do the research, we gather information, we gather documents, we talk to the chief elected officials, in this case, the members of the council. We talk to them, we want to get their perspective on what the priorities are facing the town, and what skills, attributes they think are necessary for a manager to be successful here. And so we spent half an hour to an hour with each one of the council members. We talked to department heads. We sent out a questionnaire. We gather information from the department heads on their perspective about what's going on in their departments, how their equipment is, how their facilities are, what they see as the issues facing the town, particularly related to their department, and what they would like to see in the next manager. And then, and it's been alluded to, Paul's alluded to it, the survey that we did. We've also put into our process, community paradigm, and this became a topic at our last meeting, of the value of community engagement. We think community engagement's very important. We're always looking to do it better. And what we have done over the years, and not every firm necessarily does this, but we do, is try to bring the public into the process in some way.
What's the participation rate in Bridgewater for your community outreach,
Yep.
everyone being involved?
Yeah, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to get to you.
All right, can you just give us the percentage rate?
I don't have a percentage.
Include it into your presentation.
Sure. We have 183 participants.
I don't care. What's the percentage rate in Bridgewater that knows about your plan and your selection process?
About what? I'm not sure I understand what you mean about
What
my
is the
selection.
percentage
Yeah, I
of
understand what your
Bridgewater
selection-
residents that knows about this process?
I don't know. I don't know what the percentage that knows about the process.
Yeah.
I have no idea how many know about the process. I know how many people.
Do you care?
Of course I do. Do I know how many people participated? Yes, 183. And that's a high number.
183 out of this entire town participated in this process?
Yeah,
The survey.
the survey. Yeah, which is a good number. It's higher
It's
than
not a
most.
good number.
It's higher than most communities.
Right.
Higher than most communities.
All communities are failing. Why are you comparing everything to other communities that are failing?
Well, I
What
don't know.
communities are doing well in this state? What do they have a surplus? Every town in this state is broke, and you're talking about comparing our state, our town to another town.
Well, let me ask you a question, sir. Right? Because I've tried to come in here and give you a professional presentation about what's going on.
I'm an aggravated citizen. I'm not a professional.
I can see that. I can see that. You didn't have to describe yourself. I can see that. But I will tell you that not every community is broke, and that Bridgewater's not broke.
Really?
Yes. If you were broke, your numbers would show that. They don't. Actually, there's no community in Massachusetts that's broke. There's
Really?
none are broke.
Right.
Why is now water system?
Sir, this is
Sir,
not the goal of this meeting.
let me finish up what I'm going to say, and then we'll give you a chance to talk. All right? So we're going to review the resumes with the committee. The committee's going to identify the candidates that are going to be brought forward for interviews. And that's going to happen at the end of next, 2 weeks from now, roughly. Those interviews will result in 3 to 4 people being moved on to the council. And we're going to do the reference checks and the background checks to make sure that we get the council the information about those candidates. And then the council will get the names towards the end of February, do the interviews, and make a selection.
Are the interviews published?
The interviews are public. The interviews for the finalists are public, not for the semifinalists. That's in accordance with Massachusetts general laws. Because you want the best possible pool of candidates. And since these people are putting themselves out there publicly for a job, even though they already have a job, we protect their confidentiality until it's down to the finalist level.
Do you put any of your measurements or criteria to the private sector, or is it just to other towns and municipalities in the state?
In terms of who's picked?
Whatever criteria you guys.
No.
use,
I'm trying to understand your question, sir. Your question is,
Am I stupid?
Point of order, is there a public comment section of this?
There will be,
Because
yes.
this is not a back and forth. There are
Yes.
some of us who want to wait in line and talk when we're supposed to. I am totally behind everything this gentleman is aggravated about, but I have a 2-year-old. I'm gonna wait in line and talk when we're supposed to. I'd like to hear the
I
presentation.
appreciate that.
And then we will put side comments to public comment.
Thank you.
Point of order, and I hope that the chair or whomever is actually running this starts to keep this meeting in order. Step up and say it. I'm a
Okay.
teacher.
All right.
I don't need to point this out.
let me
Go for it. You're doing a great job.
let me stop here,
Thanks.
all right? And I think you have an understanding of the system, I think you have an understanding of the process, and you understanding of the market, you understand who we are. So now I will take, I've told, this is how we do it in every community we're in. We facilitate this, I will facilitate, and I will take your comments and questions. But I do think that it's important that everybody be given the right to speak, and that there be not repetitive, that there be a productive meeting to give us unique perspectives on what you think are the issues facing Bridgewater and what the skills are, what you'd like to see in the next town manager. And I'd ask that you give your name and address so that we can have that for the record. Okay?
And I would love it if you could pick up where you left off, Bernie. Yes. We would all love to hear what you have to say.
I can't remember what I was saying.
I know.
People that disrupt like to do it for a purpose. Okay.
What's that purpose?
I think I did update the timeline. Timeline is we're going to
Thank you,
interview
Ken.
the end of the second week of February. We will have the finalists to the council by the end of February.
Correct.
Sir.
So I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Mark Lady. I'm the District 2 Town Councilor. I wish I had introduced as a Town Councilor. My colleague Adeline Ellenberg's here, Sonia Striggles, and Brad McKay. We're all 9 members of the council that ultimately pick who the next town manager is. So I just wanted to say that. I have other comments later. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the record, Mr. Lindy, Mr. Loretti is not here at the moment, is he?
No, he's not. He's with his wife tonight. You don't care about that.
Okay. So, thank you, Counselor. Let me look to the room. Raise your hand politely and tell us your thoughts. Yes.
Ashley Mallard, I would love the opportunity to go first just because I
Yes.
probably won't be able to last as long. 270 Grange Park. I am a mom, and I am a long lifetime member of this town, and I am a teacher. And I am extremely concerned about the finances of this town, and I want someone who's going to lead us in a direction in which is fiscally responsible to take care of the future of this town. The reason that our property rates have risen over the years, the values, the assessed values, is because we have a valuable community that appreciates education at one point, but that's going downhill. We are 16th from the bottom in per pupil expenditures in the state of Massachusetts. Take away the 12 schools below us that are charter and virtual schools, we are 5th from the bottom in comparable public schools. This is pathetic. I don't want to send my kid to a school with 33 kids in the classroom. And I've seen those already. I just got updated numbers. Okay? 31, 30, 34 classes at the high school. This is not the community that I want to raise my kid in. But I grew up here. My father was a teacher here. I chose to come back and be a teacher. I want that education to be a priority, and I want my kid to be able to drink the water in the schools. Okay? And those two things are big. Now, when we talk about tax rates, although we all feel the pressure, the reality is I've compared the tax rates from our communities around here, and we are at the bottom of the barrel. Okay, folks? And there's a reason that we're struggling with sewer water. The reality is I'm willing to buck up and make my community better. And I want someone who's going to say the tough things to our community. And I want someone with an educational background, when we're talking about this, the educational background and a degree in which you are good at managing, not a political science degree, and you're suddenly telling me how to build the Rotary. That's the stuff I want. Okay? And I want everyone, I brought my son here today because I've been nonstop at meetings. I'm on the negotiating team. I'm a teacher in town. I'm on the meetings, I'm watching the meetings, and if you've seen my name on Facebook, I'm starting to get loud. And I wanted you to see my child because I want the older community to recognize that there was someone else who lifted your child. And I want you to be a part of the people who lift my child up in this community. And I'm saying that to the councilman, and I want the council people to look at me when I say this because I convinced my family to live here and to stay here, and I want to stay here and take care of my mom and my brother, and I want a community that supports me as an educator and supports my child. And I'm tired of the bickering. I want this town to step up, and I want you to. It sounds like you're doing a good job. 19 applicants. As I know, I've sat on application pools. If you're telling me that we're gonna have a tough time picking someone, that means we got someone good at that. Pick well. That's all I can encourage you to do. And pick someone who's gonna take care of this child. Because they're gonna be the ones taking care of you in the senior center and you're older. And that's what I want. I want someone who gives back to the community. I'm the one that's teaching your kids about civics. I'm a history teacher. Show them how it works for them. Show them how it works. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
In one comment, and I'm not going to comment on everything that people say, but what the words that you spoke are consistent with what we picked up in the survey in terms of financial management and support for the schools, but also for trying to do, the fiscal management in terms of sustainability and,
Appreciate it. I appreciate
good
it.
budgeting practices. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Sir,
Just a couple questions. I know you didn't like
name and address for the record.
Chris Daly,
Okay. What's your
Howard
address?
Lane, Bridgewater.
Okay.
You reference a bunch of municipalities that you have done this search for.
Sure.
Lowell, Worcester.
We haven't done searches for those. We've worked in those.
You mentioned, I wrote them down as you, or I texted them.
I was the city manager of Lowell. Yes.
All right, so that's where you're from.
Well, no.
Bridgewater is not Lowell or Worcester,
I see.
nor do we want to become Lowell or Worcester, all right, in my opinion, and I think most people here can say that.
All right.
Let me ask you, sir, can I ask you a question? I know you've got your speech right in front of you there. But
Just notes.
who do you want to be?
Who do I want to be? I don't want to be anything. To be honest with you, I wish I wasn't here. He begged me to come here tonight because I don't want to get involved in this crap. But I am very concerned about where this town is going. And I'll be honest with you, just what's happened on Route 104 should be a concern to the entire town. People are not planning any infrastructure, shoving apartments into places. And the guy I want here, I want him to have roots here. Another concerning thing, and everyone with the current situation, you're looking at journalists to do your background checks on people that are up for this position. You're looking at journalists to do that? Really? That sounds great. Your background, as far as everything goes, your company, all you guys do is select a certain criteria of people. And I don't know what you get paid for or whatever else, but you're not a Bridgewater resident. You've never had a Bridgewater history.
Sir, that forum is, that's your specialty, is helping us find the right candidate for this position.
Based on what?
Their experience in doing it for
By
110
doing it all
times.
for all these cities?
All
This
the cities in town.
is what they do. This is the procedure.
I don't want that. Do you see things aren't going well?
Sir, tell us what type of candidate would you like to see being the town manager? That's
Someone more practical that has a hometown spirit.
all right. Then that's part of
Thank you.
it. That's what we're looking for.
That's great.
Really?
That's what we're looking for.
I'm sure you made that a priority since you're looking for a master's degree in some type of government thing that just sucks off the government. Everyone's broke, and you're gonna borrow from some other government entity that's broke.
Okay. Someone else.
Thank you, sir.
Whatever.
Yeah, someone else. Yes.
Donna Jewell, 50 Keith Place, Bridgewater. I had a question first. I do have comments. And
Sure.
I'll say, what were the results of the survey?
The results?
You,
Oh.
you did the survey and had a bunch of questions. I participated.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what you received, the feedback, and really.
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you summed them all up, but
Yeah.
and you brought them.
I
to
can
the
tell you,
top.
I brought it along, but, what we try to do is I can give you some numbers, but beyond that, we also got, if you filled it out, you know that we do open-ended questions. So that we gather the information from that. Now, I can't read, that would take more than 90 minutes to read to you all the comments.
Expect that, but you.
Okay? But in terms of the major findings that we had, in terms of the professional qualifications that people are looking for, 76% wanted strong financial management experience. That goes to the comment I made earlier, the financial management report. Another major priority that people had was effective communication skills. They want someone that can interact with the public. That's 72.2%. Experience as a town manager, 50%. 50% of the people would like some experience as a town manager. Experience with organizations, 25%. Human resource and personnel, that was 21%. Demonstrating success in working with community members, 75.5%. They want someone that's going to have the ability to interact again and work with people.
Bernie, if I may, before we keep going,
Yeah.
because people's eyes are going to glaze over.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers. No, but I'd just like to, through the chair, ask you, is it fair to say that all of these results that you're going to keep going on, hopefully with numbers, but have been reflected in, quote unquote, the ideal candidate
Yes,
statement?
everything is in the document.
And that's what you heard from the survey?
Correct.
Okay, but now keep going with your numbers, because Mrs. Chu likes them.
Experience with project management was 42.9%. Collective bargaining experience was 27.2%. I mentioned 25% organizational change. Environmental sustainability, 22.8%. And personnel management, as I said, was 21.7%. Those are the major. Everything else drops off after that.
Were there any general overall comments that rose to the top that?
I think financial management is clearly one that jumps out at me, and the communication. We heard this from the councilors as well, very similar types of people that could interact with the public. Personal characteristics, I think, is another one. I think those are just sort of the professional qualifications.
Yep, for the person.
Okay, but the personal, 67% wanted someone who was collaborative, 39% wanted someone who was innovative, 77%, and this ties in with that communication, 77% want someone who is communicative. This so ties in with the skill of communication. 32 were decisive, 20% was inclusive, 63% was approachable, 19% was enthusiastic, 13% thinks it's important to have a sense of humor. I think that's important. And the largest was 87% wanted someone that was ethical. Honest and ethical.
87.
87%.
So that's the top one.
In terms of the personal characteristics. Yep.
Will those be shared?
Yeah, we can share these. We probably won't.
A summary that shows it with the top priority.
Yeah. We'll share this. The one thing that we are somewhat sensitive to is on some of the comments that we receive. Some people can be a bit libelous in the comments that they give us, and name people's names that isn't appropriate. So we stay away from those. But I'm happy to make the other part of it available to people.
Bernie.
Yes.
just for the record, MJ Spinell, Lake Shore Center, Youth 4128. Question about personal characteristics. Was there any statistical data on folks' preference for someone who already resides in the community?
Actually, some people have mentioned that, which is common. We often have that, but it's not. It wasn't mentioned extensively. You know. I think that people looking beyond. So a resident of Bridgewater, as in terms of the personal characteristics, 0.5%. So I think the qualifications of the person trump the address of residence. Someone else. Counselor.
Yes, Kathleen Erlenberg, Counselor at Large. And the reason why I'm speaking is because I think that we need someone, the one word would be negotiator. Why a negotiator? Well, two things. First of all, we have a water problem in our town. The college is on our town water system. My view is a good negotiator would say to the college, you're on our water, bring us an updated water system as a precondition before all sorts of building goes on in the town. We need a negotiator to say that. Thank you. A second thing is the school committee is worried about financing the schools and talking about a possible override. Brockton, 25 years ago, brought a lawsuit that there was lack of equity between the school systems and that a town like Lexington, with its tax base, can afford a very fancy school and so forth. Brockton sued for educational equity and won at the Massachusetts Supreme Court. We need a negotiator who can negotiate for the schools, that we need more state funding for our schools and we're a regional school and so forth. So, negotiator, that's what I've got to say.
The entire town, not just the school.
Okay. Yes, sir. Carberry's Village Gate Drive. One of the reasons that young lady, she had a beautiful kid there, has a problem in the classroom is when you put the amount of high-density housing we put in at a short time, you're going to have problems like that. I'm an old Brockton guy, and they've heard me say this before, but I don't want to head in that direction. With the plan that's going on downtown for the 40A stuff, the commuter rail stuff, and Claremont's getting ready to flare up there, with more development, we're going to have nothing. What you're going to have is an urbanized city, and no one's going to like it. One of the reasons she's got that many kids in a classroom is because you've got this going on. And I don't want to see it. I want to stop that. So I want to fight along with a negotiator. I saw once great suburban city go down the tubes in a 40-year span. We're headed in the same direction. It doesn't seem like it now. It may not look like my old hometown, but it's going to have the same problems. It's coming. So I hope we get a fight or two.
Well said. Well, take care less about that. Well said.
Someone else?
I'll speak again if I may.
Sure.
I took the opportunity.
Yeah, actually, you didn't get a chance to just tell us your thoughts, so.
I said I'd come back.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind if I read from this.
Sure, go
because
ahead.
I took the time to prepare it as if I was writing a job characteristic
Sure.
piece.
If it's-
And those of you who don't know me, I have also 25 years experience in marketing, strategic planning, and negotiations, primarily union negotiations. I've worked with a variety of executives along the way and had a lot of different experiences in trying to bridge people together. And one of the things that I think is incredibly important for any candidate to know about this town is that we're a divided town. Meaning there's big rifts, whether it's over a multitude of issues. Not here to discuss those, but what I do think is important is that the candidate be somebody who's able to bridge that, to bring the community back together. We are a community that needs to heal. If we don't, there's going to be major issues, major rifts, and we're going to get nowhere. With that being said, here are some of the things that I think are important characteristics for the next candidate. He or she should recognize our town's need to grow, but need to understand that we're a rural community and not overlook the things that have made us successful. We're a small hometown community that needs to keep growing. We've grown over the years, but needs to be managed well, and it needs to be intelligent growth. It can't be sporadic. There are many characteristics of Bridgewater that are unique, and those need to be capitalized on while we grow. There's preservation needs to be had. We have a history. We have historic buildings. We have historical sites. We have a university. There's a big job to manage all of that, but they all have to come together and use the best assets from all of those to bring them together. Someone who understands the uniqueness of the college town. A college town brings very unique problems and opportunities here. It raises rents. It creates a shortage of housing. You see that there's housing shortages August through May. Come May, you can get an apartment pretty much anywhere. But in the meantime, it raises our rates. I did a quick analysis, I didn't bring with me, of surrounding towns of East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, Middleborough, Lakeville. Their rents are substantially lower, and there's much more availability than there is here in town. Throwing in all the apartments that have been spoken about, not only is the answer. There are other ways to address that. I'm not here to tell you how to address it, but to have the potential candidate understand. Also, the partnership with the university. Some people love the university, some people hate it. But there's ways to work together. I sat in this very room a year ago, over a year in February, when the university came in and they did a presentation about partnering with the town. That was a year ago. I've seen nothing happen since then. I took copious notes, I had ideas, I had thought about calling the people who did the presentation and say, can we sit down? I have experience in this. Can we talk about how we can do this? But the town didn't do it. The town manager didn't do it. The Community and Economic Development Department didn't do it. The downtown business property around the common. I did my unofficial survey of calling some business owners and property owners and said, have any of you ever been called to a meeting by our town manager or by our Community and Economic Development Director and asked, what makes your business successful? What runs it? Let's talk. That seems to be the slogan around town, let's talk. In all that time, there has never been a meeting. I've sat in this room again at meetings, what they call this coffee with whatever, about the revitalization of Broad Street. There was plenty of time to do that, but not enough time to talk to the business owners that are here invested in the community, paying taxes, paying rents for their businesses. Something's wrong with that picture. And the potential candidate has to see that a lot of the townspeople have been excluded from that process. We talk about building for success and building for the future and revitalizing our vision to reality. The people that are here and driving the vision have been part of the vision for years. We're never asked. If the next town manager comes in that doesn't want to ask those hard questions, we're not going to get anywhere. I think it's important that they know that this community has heart. There's a lot of heart. When people get along together in this community, not there's heart. There's people that volunteer. There's people that volunteer for boards, commissions. And I volunteered for a committee. I stayed on it for 2 years. We got nowhere. Another woman in this room led that committee with her full heart and soul for multiple years. We got nowhere. We need a town manager that will support the efforts. Those hours, I can't give back. That was my donation to the town. I will do more. I will put my money where my mouth is, but I want somebody that's going to pay attention to that and who is going to work with us, work with me, work with anybody in this room that's not in this room. And I know a lot of people wanted to be here tonight, and they couldn't be because there's a very important meeting going on at the high school about the tax rate, so the schools and what's going on with the size. We're divided.
Coincidence.
We can't have that. I could communicating, you mentioned that, so I'm not going to dwell on, someone who is respectful to everybody, is an outstanding listener, embraces teamwork, leads by example, and not afraid to say, I was wrong. You know, Tim, you might have been right. Fred, you might have been right.
I'm very rarely right. Go, please.
Comes to us with a great reputation for tangible success. Words don't matter. It's got to be a tangible success. Is focused on the needs of the residents, from the roads, the water, the sewer, and the schools, improving the overall quality of life. It's coming down to, we can't deny that. We can sit here and take pretty pictures and put up pretty buildings, and the reality is still there. We want a community where people can relax and enjoy the places they live and where they're bringing up their kids and their families, or where they're retiring. Someone who truly understands the demographics of our town, that's been missing. We have very divergent graphics here, and it hasn't been addressed. Bridgewater's median income is considerably above the state average, but we also have a university with a demographic that's a little bit different. It needs to be addressed as a total picture. It's a jigsaw puzzle that we haven't even started putting the framework together to put together. Way too often I hear that residents are leaving this town to spend their disposable income, to go somewhere else, to shop, to eat, to buy gifts. Yeah, you're going to say Amazon. Okay, I'll give you that. But there are other retail places that are succeeding. There are gourmet food shops. There are wine shops. There are breweries. There's all kinds of things that could come to Bridgewater. I know some business that searched for Bridgewater, space in Bridgewater, couldn't get anywhere, left, and is extremely successful in another local community. That's from something for listening. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens, but it does. And it's up to all of us to fix that. The other thing, too, is that a town manager should embrace our community and become part of this community. And we should see them volunteer. I mean, every day. They've got a big job to do. But come to Shiny Pickup, come to the Bridgewater 4th of July, talk to the community. Go down to the Legion Field or wherever they have the arts and crafts thing. And mean, as help us, lend their checks. Do the same thing, Christmas on the corner. Be kind of a fabric and learn who we are and elbow to elbow. We have to have that in a camp. They must be willing to be in the office in Bridgewater. I know this is a sensitive issue, but remote working for a town manager is not going to work. Enough said. I'm not going to you know. Yeah. The town manager, next town manager, and anybody that works with him or her should treat the top executives on our, which I call our town councils, with the same respect that they treat a janitor in where they work today. And if you are out in the community the way they work and you're asking around, that's an important thing to ask. How are the residents treated? How are the town council members treated? How are the boards treated? How are volunteers treated? How often have they had meetings to truly listen? They should be here for the long haul. Shouldn't be a pass-through, like I'm going to be here for a year or two, and off I go. But that's not what at least not what I'm looking for, not as a executive that I would hire, or that I would recommend to anybody I work with to hire. We need somebody committed here at Blancos, understands our long-term planning. I'm tired of hearing Labazing and master plan. I'm hosting that master plan. I scratch my hip and say, that's English. I understand the words. And the thing we're up into is matching up to our master plan. But there's a breakdown. And is some of it there? Yeah. Is all of it there? Absolutely not.
Donna, can I cut you on
Yes.
respectively so the folks can get some doing then? But I'm happy to stay and
Okay. So this is
Yeah, and if I could just say, this is great. Everything you know, and I think many of these ideas, thoughts, I think we've tried to cover. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to look at the position statement and the
Yeah.
we've done.
But-
And they tie, many of them tie in with the types of questions that we'd like to see answered by candidates. But your presentation and your thoughts, I commend you, because they're really, I was going to joke before you started that, we'll see how good it is, and maybe you can come work with us. So it's not ruled out yet. So,
That's pretty much all I had.
no, that's,
You know.
it's very helpful, very helpful.
Thanks.
Thank you. It is not. So I want to come back, Mark Ledeen, Town Councilor. I'm going to really echo a lot of what Donna said. I want a town manager that is not going to be doing other jobs. I want that town manager here full-time. I don't want them doing side work. I don't want them teaching classes. And I don't want them doing remote work. Remote work works sometimes. It worked during COVID. It's time to come back in person. COVID's not gone, by the way, but we want them to be here. I personally don't want someone more than 30 minutes away. That's awesome. I want to see someone local, maybe not Bridgewater specifically, but someone that can get here if there's an emergency, especially if we don't have an assistant town manager, which will be remedied when there's a new manager. But being part of the community is important, okay? There are lots of events that happen in town. When I first got here about 5.5 years ago, I saw the town manager at a lot of community events, and then I didn't. I want someone that I'm not going to get the same answer, that I'm going to check into it and get back to you for 1.5 years as a council. We're dealing with a flag issue in this town, okay? Could have been resolved by the previous town manager, and it wouldn't have been controversy in our council and get the public, get the veterans mad, at the BCCR people. But we have one town official that's been allowed to teach on the side. I think full-time pay is for full-time work, okay? When I had a full-time exempt job, I taught. It was in my contract that I could teach. I felt I had an obligation to make up every second of that time that I wasn't there. And I did. No one wanted to work Sundays. I worked on a Sunday to make up my time. So
Okay.
I think I'm thankful that all the residents here are here. There are a lot more that couldn't be here. And I'm glad we had this session.
Good, thank you.
Hi, Elizabeth Sharp, 1000 Earl Street. I'm here to urge the committee to look for someone who's going to work to fund their schools appropriately. As you heard tonight, we're bottom of the barrel for pupil expenditure. My 6-year-old has 30 kids in over snowing. I'm hoping the town next time they can really look for creative ways to change that situation so that this town doesn't continue to go in the ways of Brockton and other towns around us.
Great, thank you. Sir?
Steve Black, 145 Lee Street. What I'd like to see in a town manager is someone who has appreciation for how the tax base in our town is so skewed. I don't have the exact numbers on it, but the residents by far and above, perhaps 90% of the tax base, 10% business. So many of the things that everybody here has talked about tonight, so many of these things can be addressed if the residents can have that tax burden shared by business. Businesses come in, and the frustrating thing when I think about this stuff is that when you have a family, a 4-bedroom household does not pay the taxes that they put the demands on the services, it's a lost leader. And we need a town manager who appreciates that, can get business to be attracted to into Bridgewater and help the residents share a more equitable tax base so that we can have a lot of the things that we're talking about here.
And I will tell you, that's because of all the work we do for all these different communities. That's a constant everywhere. It's a real challenge. But I think we do have it in here that economic development is certainly a priority. But I appreciate exactly where you're coming from. All right, we're looking to speak again. I haven't been skipping you. I've been giving other people a chance to speak.
I realize that. I just want to know what kind of weight out of the 19 candidates you have, what kind of C-level experience they have in the private sector?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
Is that a priority for you as speaking for your company? Is that a priority for you to look for people that are successful in private sector?
Actually, the most communities, and Bridgewater included, has placed a priority on having someone that understands municipal government. But certainly, we have placed people in the private sector in these positions. We've placed people in the military in these positions. We've placed people at nonprofits into these positions. So yes.
I think you said enough with how little people that are in the real world are involved in your circle.
I just want to say, too, I think, as an answer to that question, it's not Bernie who's looking for the candidates by any means.
Right.
It's us folks on the town council who live here,
And you're paying him to
who
look.
live here in Bridgewater, that are going to select that person. So Bernie really has no say in that process.
The goal of this.
Can I just throw in one quick question, not disrespectfully?
Sure.
What needs to be done as far as, we have a little conversation amongst ourselves, what needs to be done as far as a referendum to slow down all the crap, and sorry for the lack of the saying crap, in the center of town?
That's not the
This
goal of
huge
this
Soviet
meeting,
style thing and everything. What needs to be done to stop that the citizens have a say?
This is not the goal of this meeting, sir. The goal of this meeting is for you to
I
share
know
what you
that.
want in
I'm
a town
throwing this
manager.
in there because you guys are town leaders. Just a quick question. What needs to be done?
That's not the goal of our meeting here tonight, sir.
I don't have any answer.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Okay.
I just, first of all, I want to thank you for being here.
Sure.
I know what your company does. Terry Lindy,
That's right.
appointed him, and Michael Brewer. My understanding of what your company does is you screen the best candidates and then cherry pick the ones that are qualified in terms of the survey and what the town is looking for. You don't have anything to do with downtown or talking about water and all this other stuff. This is not a complaint department. I know what you do for the people that don't understand. The people that are going to be choosing the town councils are people who from the town.
Right.
You're just cherry picking the ones that are qualified.
Not
And then-
even. Yeah, and I'm not even cherry picking.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't mean like
I'm
that.
just going to say that,
You're screening the people. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you the question in a different way.
Sure.
Although Mrs. Lindy, I don't think she's using cherry picking in the way to mean it.
Right.
No, and I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Where to go. But you're going to present every candidate to
Every
this search committee.
Yes.
And this search committee is going to decide whether or not to move forward with an interview for them for a preliminary stage, and then at that point, to recommend who to go forward to at a council stage. And that's the level of your involvement in this process. You're not setting any town policies.
No.
You're not helping the council set any policies. You're not telling the town
And who
manager how
hired
to
him?
do his next job.
Correct.
And who hired him?
All of us up here.
Right. Just the council up there, not the town. All you guys up there hired him.
All the council approved.
Right.
Yes, the entire council.
That's 5 people.
9 people.
9 people.
Totally.
Go ahead.
Jamie Hanson, Pleasant Street, Bridgewater.
I'm keeping it simple. I definitely thought I did it great. How can you say anything more than what she did?
Yeah.
But I would like somebody who has experience with the town, not so much the city, but their experience in the city, hopefully, that if that works for a town, fine. But I don't want them to have a city experience and expect to make this town six. So I would look for a candidate that would work well in a town. And we may have a city form of government. Everybody can still consider this a town. And I don't want us to become a city. We're trying not to become Brockton. Everybody moved out of Brockton, come in, but and also a town manager that does communicate, that does work well with committees. Try to encourage all these committees. I think that's the town manager that could go on a committee. Am I wrong?
Recommends them.
Recommends them
And then
approved by
the
the
council is approved. So I think there's been a lacking in that lately. I never really had any previous knowledge of the previous town managers to form an opinion until more recently. I've become more in the government and making them with the town. But I would like to see a town manager that
would be local, would have more of a stake in the town, and not try to make us into a city, and respect what everybody's saying, and not just encourage building of apartments. We want to encourage business, but the business that comes in, they have to be able to afford the rent, and that's an issue in Minnesota town. That's not the town manager right now, but these are things that needs to be worked on. But Donna said it all.
Yeah.
But with somebody that has town experience and not want to make it become a city.
Yeah, and let me just, I almost regret talking about myself at the beginning because it set off this whole thing that somehow we're going to bring the city of Lowell to Bridgewater. My point is I've worked in municipal government also, including some very small towns, and we worked with, we did the search for the town of Plimpton. Nothing gets smaller than Plimpton. 1,800 people. No one in Plimpton thought that we were trying to,
Just answer the question. You don't need to go over it.
Sir, please.
It's my question.
You're not being very respectful to.
And he's not being respectful to me either.
That's all right. But what we're looking for is the experience isn't someone who's worked at a city. We're looking for people who understand managing a town like Bridgewater was something a little bit smaller, probably. Or maybe they can, this scale.
That was my
Family.
is what.
And I do have a tendency to go off and talk a lot. So
That's what
I
I
apologize.
There are cities the size of Bridgewater.
Yes, there are. There are cities that are smaller than our cities. But, go ahead.
Hi, Melanie Omar, 40 Vehicle Drive. I'm here tonight as a mom as well. I think that our next leader of the town should have experience with a strong partnership with the school. And I think a working partnership in history of a strong working partnership, experience in some successes, and making sure that there's joint vision of the community and the schools that come together. And I know that there's a lot of thoughts about the development and the water and all that goes along with that. But I think without a strong partnership in that lens, you're going to see the town in and of itself plummet.
And I think we do try to the last sentence in the paragraph on education. We say that they're expected to foster increased partnerships with the school district and engage in regular dialogue with members of the school.
Yeah, I just think that's really, I'm a teacher as well.
Yep.
It's really easy to say those words, but I think that showing a history of that and some successes in other towns would be something that would be a thoughtful selection.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for being here this evening. I am the Sandra Wright, Plymouth County Commissioner. We serve 26 towns in the city of Brockton. I work very closely with the town manager and all the services that we offer for Bridgewater, which we are in several of the programs. What I would like to see is more regional services. There isn't any two towns that are alike, and everybody has their own needs. And it's not that easy to supply them and offer them the needs that they need or want. I think over the years, though, because I've been around a very long time, I've seen managers come and go. And I also believe that at one point in time, towns had their own power and didn't want to give up anything. It's gotten to a point where I think where you're having a lot of turnover in town managers is that they now have to become regionalized. They have to start doing regional services in order to survive. We can't sustain what we, give out for fire, police, teachers, and everything that, we have the needs for. So I would like to see somebody who is, willing to work with me in the county as far as regional services.
Great. Yep, sorry.
Marilyn County and Yellowstone Street, Bridgewater. I'm a relative who lived in Bridgewater. I've only been here 13 years, but also where my children went to the schools, all of the plain education. And I would like to see some of the old Bridgewater return a little bit from where we are now. One of the things I saw as I went it down for 9 years, I saw the diminution of our boards, committees, and commissions.
It was very, very sad. I saw all of us get report paying attention, take a big hit, and while I was able to do what people who were there, I watched people come in and get sworn in to serve, who didn't know anything else, the committee. I would never be asked, how is this person going to be sworn in? Are they started out, who the chairs were? Just a lot. And I think in a community like ours, wants to be a community where people are offering their services, we owe it to them to say, this is where you serve, this is how you serve. Some training, some information for them about what they're going to be doing and how they should do it. And I watched that really, really deteriorate in their lives.
Thank you. Yes.
Ernie, to build on that, to what Mary Lee said, I agree with her on that one. We need a town manager who will be pragmatic in their approach, both to the community and also to the boards, committees, and commissions that help operate the community itself. Town of Bridgewater has language when it comes to our abilities to have our boards, committees, and commissions function. And I tried to help Mary Lee, especially at various times throughout the prior administration. And in fact, it was one of the reasons why I actually kind of left as a result, was that we weren't really getting anything accomplished. So what I'd like to see, me personally, to see a new town manager come in, I want them to take a pragmatic approach, to take a look at everything that's actually right now on the board as it is. Take a look at those, start doing what everyone else has said, sit amongst the community members, be a part of the community itself, and say, these are what I'm hearing, this is what you're telling me, this is what I think I can do. Give me the input that you think I need to do this with, and I will go forward and do it. I want a pragmatic leader who will tell me straight talk in tough times and not BS a BSer.
Okay. Okay, sorry, yes, go ahead.
Stephanie Simeon, Bridgewater Way, Bridgewater. I am a new resident. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. 30-year mortgage, here we are. Also a new parent, so I am seriously invested in this community. And a little concerned at what I'm seeing in terms of how our government functions. I am not used to this form of government. I am very concerned with the amount of power that the town manager seems to have, and that's why I'm here, despite having a toddler at home, despite working full time. I am trying to do what I can with the very limited time I have of serving the community already. And so I want to just give that context, that to recognize that there's diversity in our community, and I appreciate some of the other folks in the room sharing about the diversity in our community that doesn't always necessarily have the opportunity to be represented in this physical room today. I am very concerned. I know we don't have a town manager right now to be overseeing this, but it's concerning to me that this event is at the same time, at the same day as another community issue that we're thankfully able to express here as well about the school. So, I mean, obviously, we don't have a town manager, but I would think that town manager would be more understanding of, yes, all of the community's needs and someone to oversee all of these different parts and pieces that are moving along. So essentially, the things I'm going to share about what I'm looking for in a town manager is not going to be something new to you, but I want to reiterate the points that have been brought up that I also feel is important, again, as a fairly new resident to the town. So first and foremost is that I don't care if the person who's a town manager lives in town, because my concern is that we need someone who's qualified, who has, like people have said, demonstrated success in the things that they say that they can do. So I don't know that we have a town manager that's already living in town. The likelihood of that's probably quite low. But I do agree that they need to be someone who is, yes, physically here. I didn't even recognize that would be an option of doing any kind of remote work, but a town manager, no. They need to be here, so they do need to live in the area, or at least move to the area to do this work. This is day in, day out, weekends, all kinds of hours to be involved in the community, like others have said, that they're at events, that they're basically, sounds like they kind of have to be a mayor in some ways, except they have to be stuck here for a long time without being elected. That's a concern of mine. But anyway, so the qualifications are going to be utmost important. Of course, we need to be addressing those major issues and yes, reiterating to the community what they're hearing, what they're seeing. And that's going to be those priorities of, handling the water, again, having a young child, we couldn't even use the water in my kids' bottles. Like, that is concerning that we don't even have drinking water. And definitely concerning that there are major financial issues with the schools sustaining. So, I mean, of course, we can all go on, but I also am concerned about some of the, extra developments with apartments. I do want to support business, but I think the huge apartment complexes, I'm already seeing plenty of those. So I appreciate the opportunity to have both the survey and both this event, and I do think that having an analysis and synopsis of the survey results, infographic, right? Make it readable for people, but it is concerning that the results aren't being shared. So that would be helpful. I have a question. Is the process, are you still looking for more candidates or?
Deadline is Monday.
Okay, but you already have 19. Okay, thank you.
Somebody else? Sir.
Stefano D'Amelia, Harvest Lake. I have a question regarding the 19 applicants.
Sure.
All of them current residents of the state of Massachusetts?
No.
So there's people applying from out of state?
Yes.
Are they willing to move to Bridgewater?
That hasn't come up in conversations, but honestly, they'd have to move to Massachusetts.
They would have to move to Massachusetts?
Simply because the ones that come immediately to my mind lives too far from Massachusetts to.
Okay, so that maybe the councilors would probably kind of not even give them the opportunity to interview. You said on your surveys, it was like 180 something people, and then you said 0.05 checked off that you would like to see them live in Bridgewater.
0.5.
0.5?
But half of 1%.
Half of 1%, so that was me. I'm not sure, but I think Mr. Lindy mentioned, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I think he kind of mentioned that he'd like to see someone from Bridgewater, at least, and I agree with her, they should be, definitely should be.
Within 30 minutes.
Should be qualified.
Yes.
I would like to think that somebody from Bridgewater, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, would be interested. Maybe they're not qualified, then fine, erase them, get them right out. I get that. But with all the comments with working the 40-hour shift, for 40-hour work week here in Bridgewater, it would be beneficial for them to be really close. I also wanted to say, Zara, thank you for all the efforts that you put in, not only in this, but everything you do for town. I want to say that publicly because she does put in a lot of time. I don't know how often you go to meetings like this, but if you see you kind of get a taste of what Bridgewater's about. Yeah, I think the lady that was here earlier with a baby, she was reduced to tears. You have some people that are upset, which I understand because I am too. I just don't show it as much. We have people that are willing to go over a 40-hour work week, and then you have people like Donna that will go and help and extend their efforts. So Bridgewater is still a very strong, lovable community. It is kind of going awry, and the school population has to, in my opinion, has to do with the amount of development we've done. So I think we need to put the brakes on the developments and stuff.
Absolutely.
It's the water. My kids are all grown up, but from my understanding, the stuff that's in the water is very bad for children. So I think that needs to be addressed immediately, like starting tonight. And I'm hoping the town council really recognizes that. I know your hands are tied. It's not like you got the money to say, here, fix it. I know that doesn't work. But I think that should be priority one for her kids. Like I said, my kids are all grown up. They can take care of themselves. They can go buy bottled water, spring water, whatever they have to do. But that's pretty sad. I feel bad for her, the young lady that was here earlier.
That's the guy who should be the town manager right there.
If I could just ask you a question, Bertie, if you can answer it for me, just because there's the issue of whether someone, some applicant may live or may move to Bridgewater has come up several times. Can you tell us whether, if you are aware, if any of the applicants you're familiar with at this point are actually Bridgewater residents? I think there are a couple. But then we get to the, this has, a decision has to be made, it's a qualification. Okay? All right, anybody else? All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate